Welcome back, commentary comrades, and today we are going to do commentary on this controversial dress that Pastor Jamal Bryant's wife wore to some kind of fundraising function. And it's been a really hot topic. Why? Because he is a pastor, okay? He is supposed to lead his flock. He, as a pastor, as a man of God in charge of a flock, a congregation, will be held accountable on Judgment Day for the standards that he sets and what he projects and corrects and deems as acceptable as a model for his people in his congregation. So he's held to a higher standard. And this has been controversial because you have a lot of people saying, oh, the dress is fine. And then you've had a lot of people saying, no, that's inappropriate for a pastor's wife, a first lady of a church, again, meant to be led by God, to have. So let's get into it. Okay. I've heard of Pastor Jamal Bryant. I don't really watch his sermons or anything. I have several different pastors that I watch, and I have come across some of his clips. Like if he goes viral for a controversial reason, I definitely know who he is, but I can't say that I've ever sat and watched him preach like a full sermon. I just, I never have. I do know he's got a mega church, as they call them, huge churches with huge followings and lots of money coming in, right? I'm not familiar with his doctrine. There's so many denominations out there, which is really unfortunate because Jesus didn't he didn't intend it to be that way, but people are people and they can never agree on anything, even when it comes to the walk of Christianity. And I do consider myself a Christian. That's what I try to practice, okay? So whenever this particular topic arises where you have a representation that is debated by those who are meant to be the highest level of Christians by being pastors and pastors' wives, it's really put under the microscope, as it should be. So I'm going to share my thoughts. This is my opinion. You can agree or disagree. That's just how it is. But I'm going to go on and say I agree with those who are saying the dress was highly inappropriate. Okay, as a pastor's wife, she's getting the illusion of being naked. Like, there's no way around that. Let's just be honest, okay? Let's be honest. Let's start from top to bottom. She's got a lot of cleavage spilling out, and the way the top of the dress is made, it kind of looks like demon horns, Again, I'm not saying she's a demon. I'm not saying she's possessed by demons. Absolutely not. And I really can't put it on her anyway. And you'll see why in a minute. I can't 100% hold her responsible for this dress. As a matter of fact, I'll go on and tell you, I'm not going to bash her. I'm going to bash the dress. I'm not going to bash her at all. And I'm actually not going to hold her accountable at all. And I'll tell you why in a minute. So, I'll even scroll up off of her face, just so you know how much I'm not trying to attack her as she feels like people are attacking her. Okay, it's not letting me scroll up past her face. Maybe I could cut it later on. Maybe I'll put something over her face. But before I do that, I would like to point out that her expression looks strained and she doesn't look comfortable. And she doesn't look like she's feeling herself in this dress. That's not the look or the expression. And again, I have not flipped through and looked at every single picture out there of her in this dress. I did not go and research different shots of her in this dress. So I could be reaching. I'm willing to take that into consideration when I'm reaching with this. But from what I've seen of her, the clips that I have seen of her, this dress does not fit her personality. It's not who she is as a woman. And she was not gung-ho and jumping up and down to put on this dress. Allegedly, this is just my opinion. I can't get into this woman's head. But hey, when you're a public figure, you put yourself out there to be commentated on. So that's what I'm doing. And that's why you're here listening, right? So, yeah, she doesn't look comfortable in this dress. If this was Cardi B in this dress, if this was, I don't even want to name drop those celebrities out there. I'm not even going to name drop them. Forget that. But if this was any other salacious, scandalous, hubris type woman out there in this dress, this is not the expression they would have on their face. And eyes are the windows into the soul. And her soul is not truly embracing this dress. And if she's honest with herself, she will admit that her soul, her spirit on the inside, did not fully embrace this dress to be a part of her flesh. It didn't. And she can deny it all she wants to protect her husband, as she probably would if someone were to say that to her, but it's written all over her face. And again, the eyes are windows into the soul. And her soul is not satisfied in this dress. So let's get to, we're going top to bottom here. So that's the expression on her face, right? I'll zoom out. We'll look at her expression on the other image. It's not any better. Her expression, and it's a little blurry, the quality, she is not comfortable in this dress. She's not feeling it like that. Back to this dress. So you've got these two horns at the top. It reminds me of Maleficent. I think that's how you pronounce it. That movie, those horns that she had on the top of her head. The design, it represents darkness. If you look closely at it, it's almost like you can see a female demon portrayed over the dress. It's meant to look like flesh. It's flesh colored to make her appear naked underneath the dress. And then as it goes down, it's meant to look like it's just barely covering her privates at the bottom. Again, it's flesh colored, but it's meant to give that illusion. And if you really want to take it there, it's meant to look like pubic hair. Come on, let's just be honest. Can we be honest? Can we be real here? Because there are a lot of people who are tiptoeing around things. Yeah, great, look great, and they're Christian women. I don't care about the secular women or the women who don't believe in modesty and class and decorum. I'm not talking about them because, they'll go out with two pasties over their nipples and with their butt cheeks completely out and a thong and call it a day. This is not for them. And again, to each their own. I'm not judging anyone. This is just my opinion. Do what you want to do. You're grown. But again, if you're a public figure, people are going to comment on what you put out there, and that's just all it is. Take it for what it's worth. Ignore it. If you feel confident in doing what you do and dressing how you dress and presenting yourself how you present yourself, okay, do that and be that, and don't worry about what anyone says. But the look on her face is that she did not want to wear this dress, and that speaks volumes as to this is not an empowering dress for her because she can't own it. Okay, so again, it looks like a very dark demonic style dress just in its nature. Those psychological tests where they give you a black splotch. I've never taken a psychological test, but I've seen it on TV and movies, and they ask you, what do you see? Because they're trying to figure out what kind of mentality that you have when you look at black splotches and what vision or what image your mind envisions. But these are black splotches like that for sure. We see them all over the dress. Maybe those are flowers. Some of them look like flowers or rose petals, but there's a darkness behind them. Like the top looks like goats or some kind of horned animal. So that further gives the running motif and imagery of horned things. So it's a succubus dress. Dark entities that exist. One is called the succubus, right? Or the Jezebel spirit. The Jezebel spirit is meant to seduce, it's meant to entice, it's meant to garner, attract, and arouse lust, okay? It's the complete opposite of the temple, the body being a temple of God. It's all about flesh and fleshly desires and giving in to those fleshly desires. Hence, we've got here a flesh-colored backing on this dress. Again, it meant to give the appearance of being in the flesh. And then if you look further down with this ruffle part, it's almost like the way it's designed, you see how it's going at a slant? It's almost like it's designed to look like it's falling off of her. Like, whoops, my skirt fell down. I'm about to reveal my privates because my skirt's falling down. Because think about it, when you, as a woman, pull down your pants or your shirt, or maybe another man, I don't know, you kind of shimmy it off of you at a slant, at an angle, and it just kind of shimmies down. You may have to wriggle out of it, especially if, like me, sometimes you're trying to deny that you can no longer fit something. And so you're trying to squeeze yourself into it, and you can no longer fit it, but you shimmy it on, and then when you have to take it off, you got to shimmy it off at an angle to get it off of you because, it's too tight, So it gives that illusion and that appearance of a skirt that's falling down and exposing private areas below the waist. So let's pause here a moment. Right. So on Wikipedia, it gives the definition of this female demon that appears in European folklore and in dreams of male humans in order to seduce them. Okay. It's a woman who wants to inspire that lust. That's what it's meant to be. The woman who is meant to seduce men. And if you look at images, depictions of what that's meant to represent and what people imagine this female demon might look like, look at the horns. Look at the dark colors. Look at the bodies on the outfit. There's a common theme here. Ooh, look at that one. This is just with a quick internet search. These are artistic renderings, but I would be surprised if the designer of this dress wasn't in some way inspired by the folklore of this demonic entity. We must go back to the dress. Do you see it? You can't help but see it. It's there. The horns, the flesh, the exposure of the flesh, and the darkness. It's all there in that dress, and she knows it, and that's why she has that expression on her face. But let's get to why, and allegedly, let me say allegedly, because again, I can't give this one its head. Maybe that was just an awkward pose. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay? I don't know what's in her head. Maybe she loves the dress. Maybe she wants to wear it 10 more times at 10 more different events. I could totally be wrong. Allegedly. So I'm going to go back to her husband because he is, in Christianity, supposed to be the leader, the guider of his flock, the head of his household, the spiritual advisor, the one who's going to portray the word of God in the right way and be an example of that and for that. Response was very snarky and dismissive. And that's what he's known for. Anytime there's something controversial, he doesn't hold back. He's very blunt and he's very vocal with his opinion. So that in and of itself, he should be able to take others being blunt and vocal in their opinions as well, because that's who he is as a person. So obviously other people are like that too. And so he basically said, who do you think bought the dress? I did. That's my wife. You don't have to like it. That's for me to like. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. So here's the problem with that. You bought this dress because you liked it, not because she liked it, because you liked it. And you wanted to see her in it. Maybe you thought it was sexy. Maybe you want her to tap into her dark side for whatever reason. You're supposed to be a beacon of light, but who knows? Sometimes people get tempted by the darkness, even if they're supposed to be high up on a pedestal, because at the end of the day, we're all humans, right? But when you humble yourself and admit your mistake, that's how you grow in further lightness. But as long as you justify the darkness when it does creep in at times, there can be no growth. And that's basically what he did. He justified it by saying, I'm her husband. I'm the one who bought the dress. It doesn't matter if you like her in this dress. That's for me to like. I like the dress. Okay, so buy her something sexy to wear in private for you to enjoy in the privacy of your home. If you're saying this was meant for you, she is not meant for others. Why are you forcing her to parade around for others in this dress that she's uncomfortable in? Just look at that expression. She's like, oh, well, I'm in it. I'm wearing it. If you wanted me to wear it, I'm just, yeah. Again, allegedly, I can't get inside your head. But his statement, it makes no sense because he really emphasized, again, not her liking the dress and saying, oh, hey, we should buy that for me and I'm her husband. No, whatever she wants, she gets. No, he emphasized him liking it, number one, and number two, that it was meant for him to enjoy and no one else. Well, I'm sorry, dude, but you're not the only one enjoying this dress. There are perverts out there who are absolutely loving this dress. They've got the same screenshot I've got right now, and they're zooming all the way in on your private areas, enjoying themselves right now wearing this dress. So your thoughts that, oh, this isn't for anyone else to enjoy, this is for me to enjoy. Oh, no. All that went out the window the moment you made her step outside in this dress. In your mind, you're the only one meant to enjoy it. You're the only one who's going to enjoy it. But in reality, no. A million billion perverts are out there right now doing their thing to a picture of this Christian woman. And you put her in that position. You put her in that position because you want it to make men jealous. You want it to make men wish they had that. Your own pride. Allegedly, because again, I don't know what made him feel like this was a good idea. I don't know that he wanted to make other men jealous. So this is all allegedly. But it's very distasteful for a pastor's wife to wear this horned-looking demonic dress that gives the appearance of exposing the flesh. Okay? No, he messed up with that one. If it were solid black with some straps at the top or not such a low plunge at the top, maybe it would have been all right. But when you add this illusion of nudity, are you serious? Come on. Illusion of just barely covering the pelvic area with the illusion of the dress to expose the pelvic area? Come on. Let's get some scriptures in here. Because all the false Christians, they're going to say, oh, you're being judgmental. God would approve of that dress. Jesus would love that dress. How dare you? God made that dress. Yeah, you've got some people just that loony. Allegedly. King James Version, Romans 12:2, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Let's go to the easy to read 1, 2, 3 ABC version, if necessary. Don't change yourselves to be like the people of this world, but let God change you inside with a new way of thinking. Then you will be able to understand and accept what God wants for you. You will be able to know what is good and pleasing to Him and what is perfect. So, in order to see if you're contradicting this, all you have to do is ask, is this dress something a typical known celebrity in the world might wear? And we already know the answer to that is yes. There are 1,000,001 different secular singers, actors, and so forth that you could name that would absolutely rock this dress proudly because that's who they are and they are of the world. But again, as a pastor, you're not supposed to be of the world. As a pastor's wife, you're not supposed to be of the world. You're not supposed to conform to dressing how the world would dress, to thinking how the world would think. But as we've seen time and time again, a lot of times when religious people get really famous and really wealthy, they just want to be able to fit in with the other really famous and really wealthy, even if that means contradicting their own values and their own morals. Or maybe they only pretended to have certain values and morals to get to where they are, so it's not really a contradiction. They're just showing their true colors. Allegedly, because again, this is just speculation and commentary and hearsay, whatever you want to call it, because I can't get inside anyone's head. But yeah, this isn't a good look. It's not a good look at all. But the video where he gave his rebuttal, like the audience was cheering him on. Like he's not going to lose any of his flock because of this. I mean, he might lose a small percentage perhaps, but overall, he's not losing his flock. That church is going to stay packed. It's going to stay mega. It's going to stay wealthy. And a big part of that, even with smaller churches, a lot of times members, they don't hold their, pastors and authority to higher standards because they like knowing that they are like them. They like that, especially if they're not living right. If they drink, they smoke, they party, they fornicate, and the pastor's doing the same thing. Oh, they love that church because they know the pastor will never try to encourage and teach them to come up out of that lifestyle because they're in it too, and that would make them hypocrites. So when they're stuck in that lifestyle and they enjoy it and they love it, they don't want to come out of it, and they don't want anyone telling them to come out of it. So they love those kinds of churches where they might keep their pinky toe or their big toe a little bit straddling the fence. Allegedly. And like I said, I've never sat through any of his sermons, so I can't call out any further contradictions in his career as a pastor. But when it comes to this dress scandal and how he handled it, totally contradictory to the word of God. Totally. Like, follow, share. And yeah, till next time. Bye.